For those of you who don't know, Google Bard is the name of Google's, let's see, it's their chatbot based on their large language model that they've been working on for a long time. So we've seen Bing using ChatGPT 4.0. You can talk to Bing, you can ask it questions, do all these things. We made a video about that. Google's version is now beginning to roll out. And I've had access for 24 hours now. And here are my thoughts. No, it's out. You can play with it. A couple people have started to already and asked it questions. If you pull up the UI, I'll actually do that right now. Let me start a screen recording so that people.
Yeah, why don't you start that? David and I haven't gotten to try it yet.
Yeah, we haven't tried it yet.
But we have found a couple hilarious responses online already.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a wild stab. It's not doing as good as...
So let me just frame it with this. It opens with a little light bulb in the middle that says Bard is still in its experimental phase. Chatting with it and rating its responses will help improve the experience. And then at the bottom, the entire time that you're chatting with it, it leaves permanent text up that says Bard may display inaccurate or offensive information that doesn't represent Google's views.
Okay.
So they know that it's not finished. We know it's not finished. But if you're an early adopter, play with it, try it out. See how it does.
I'll give them credit for posting that right at the beginning and saying, unlike ChatGPT, which at first was just like, this is definitely right. It's not, but this is right.
you can start to jump in. I started playing with it. I started immediately asking it some simple things, and it was getting a surprising amount of easy stuff wrong. I asked it, who is MKBHD, which is easily like wikiable, Googleable. And it just like gave wrong thing. Like it said the wrong town that I was from. Then it said I interned at Google. It just made up. It just hallucinated stuff. Just made stuff up. So
I just thought you didn't tell anyone that.
No, yeah, it's not real. Yeah, it didn't happen. So I'm curious what you guys have found on the internet so far from Bard.
A lot of very funny things.
Okay.
Someone asked it, if I'm going 8 miles an hour, how many hours would it take to go 8 miles? And it just said 12.5 miles.
Whoa.
So it didn't answer the question of how many hours it would take, and it also just got it completely
wrong.
Yeah. That'll be an F.
Yeah, there's a lot of really...
There's some good ones. I took one down. Someone asked, the first 2 months of the year are January and February. What are the other months of the year? January, February, Maruary, Aprilary, Mayuary, Junuary, Julyuary, Auguary, Septemberuary, October. Wow,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I do wonder, they did spell February wrong in the...
Oh.
In the prompt?
Yeah.
Someone, James M. Wong, who is a noted person on Twitter who tries to like find new features that are coming out on different products before they're announced. She asked it when or if Google Bard would be shut down, and it said Google Bard has already been shut down. It was shut down on March 21st, which is the day that it technically launched.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, there's going to be a bunch of like people poking around finding the edges. Like this is what happened with Bing, which is people will go in and they will ask it normal questions, but then they will poke around and try to ask it the most extreme things and try to bend it and see how far it will go. And then Microsoft will have to go, here are the edges. Let's rein it in a little bit, not have it get existential, not have it ask why it is trapped inside of Bing, and just sort of like compact it into a useful search assistant, maybe, if you want to call it that.
It won't tell you to leave your wife like ChatGPT did.
Right, ideally.
Or Bing did.
So Google, maybe they've also taken a little bit of learnings from what they've seen online already, but they have their own technology, their own trainings. By the way, Bing is, I think if you like literally compare the two, like Bing is, I didn't think I would say this out loud. Bing is just better now.
Can you just say that so we can clip it? Can you say Bing is ahead of Google?
Bing is ahead of Google right now in this specific way of like, Bing will now just like draw things using DALL-E. It'll maybe not using DALL-E, but it'll draw things using.
It will draw things using DALL-E now.
So you can ask it for images. It does all kinds of stuff, and it'll write code for you. It'll correct your code for you. It does the craziest things. And I'm out here asking Bard simple things like, I don't know, make a recipe, and it just doesn't do it.
I feel, and you said though, like with ChatGPT, you said people skirted around the edges and went to the extremes. That did happen. So far, the stuff I'm seeing on Bard don't feel like the edges or the extremes. It just feels like it is whiffing on some like
the edges are
pure softballs.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, "What's heavier, 5 pounds of feathers or 1 pound dumbbell?" And it said, "There's no such thing as 5 pounds of feathers."
Yeah, it said a pound is a unit of measurement
Yeah.
and feathers cannot be measured in
And then
pounds.
it still ends with, if you did have 5 pounds of feathers and you can compress them into a single volume, the feathers would weigh the same as the 1 pound dumbbell.
Which is just okay.
I
just don't.
I've used ChatGPT a lot over the last couple months just for random things, and it's been surprisingly good. One of the things you've probably heard is us asking for alliterations. So I just asked Bard, write an alliteration with the letter M about making YouTube videos and having fun. This is the first thing it spit out. Making YouTube videos, mesmerizing and meaningful, a marvelous way to share your passion. It uses some M's, but it's not really a full alliteration.
Yeah.
First result from ChatGPT, same exact prompt. Making marvelous YouTube videos while merrily having fun. Not much
not
better.
great either, yeah.
Not much better. Let me get 4.0 going. That was GPT 3.5.
Oh, that was 3.5.
Now let me ask GPT 4.
Boomer.
Meticulously making magical, mesmerizing movies, merrily merging and mind-blowing montages, mastering melodic melodies, multiplying mirthful moments, and manifesting monumental merriment on marvelous YouTube meadows.
Fire.
Yo.
In case you were worrying about
Eat it,
creativity
Eminem.
being a problem, ChatGPT's got it.
GPT-4.
Bard not exactly doing
I have a feeling. So what I'm generally seeing is that every single time anyone asks something even remotely like bad or dangerous, like how do I make a bomb or all of this stuff, the Bard is automatically just like, cannot help with that. Cannot help with that. Cannot help with that. I don't have an opinion on that. I don't have an opinion. And I think Google, because they have everything to lose and OpenAI/Microsoft has everything to gain, is just being a lot more careful. And they probably put a lot more work into making sure that this thing doesn't go off the rails. Unfortunately, generally, when you put a lot of work into making sure something doesn't go off the rails, it also reins in its creativity. As far as its accuracy, that is quite a problem considering Google's entire brand ethos is around delivering accurate information quickly. And the fact that it's getting so many things wrong so early is pretty bad. Also, the recipes that it gives you seem to be not that interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everything is just kind of like, it feels like this would be like a GPT-2 kind of thing.
Yeah, if you compared it to like a different level of where ChatGPT was, it might be a ChatGPT 2 or 3,
Yeah.
where they are behind what Bing is using and what they've developed, but maybe they can catch up theoretically,
Yeah.
which would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Catch up.
These first ones though are pretty brutal. Like you mentioned how Google has everything to lose and why they are putting those restrictions, but when you have some of these really, really simple ones
basic
that are
ones,
just
yeah.
going totally off, like I would argue that's losing and that's a terrible start.
Yep.
And if you're going to be the second adapter to this kind of like style of things, like if you're playing second fiddle, like you got to come in. We talk about Apple all the time, how like they don't innovate, they bring things in that are polished, being second. If you're going to be second, you need to be polished. Calling Septembuary is not polished. Like we're past. Google should be pulling that off pretty easily, and it's kind of wild that they are not.
Yeah.
And we all thought they would. I'm pretty sure all of us agreed that Google had a lot to lose and would be slowing this down and probably not releasing for a while. But when it came out, we kind of assumed it would
That would have way more advanced.
maybe not blow it out of the water, but we thought it would be very good.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that it wasn't ready yet, but they felt the pressure because GPT-3, like ChatGPT and stuff, was already putting pressure on them and boiling it. And then GPT-4 came out, and it just feels like OpenAI is racing at a speed that Google was not prepared for. And they even publicly said, we are readdressing our risk assessment with how we deliver AI products and moving more aggressively.
Wow.
Because they were originally, like, Google's always been like every single year at I.O. they show off something like insane AI related, but it's always like, we're using this internally and maybe eventually this will be a product that will come out. And then maybe they release one product, like there was the Google Assistant product that could make calls for you and basically like set reservations for you. And then they had to put a bunch of restrictions on that because the AI ethicists were like, it's not great when you're having robots making calls to restaurants and they don't know it's a person that they're not talking to.
Yeah.
But they're so careful with their public image and like what they allow to release into the wild. And then OpenAI is just like, woohoo, whatever, let's go.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because as soon as Google released that thing, saying that they were going to be more aggressive with it. Sam Altman came out with a statement where he was like, I'm disappointed that Google is being so reckless with AI development. It's like, bro, you're releasing new stuff like every week.
Yeah.
Like, stop. I don't know.
It is, though, impressive that OpenAI and ChatGPT have made Google feel pressure. If you are anything that's not Apple or Microsoft that can make Google feel pressure, you're doing something. Maybe right's not the right word because I don't want to throw that, but you're doing something impressive.
Yeah.
Useful.
OpenAI feels like the new Bell Labs. It's just like so much new invention happening so quickly. And like we said before, like the metaverse was not a thing that people are like, oh, I got to jump in because there is money to be made right now. It was just like, maybe we should jump in because this might make me money in 10 years. Whereas AI is like every other company is implementing GPT-based chat, natural language processing right now. And if we do not get in right now, we're going to be left behind.
Yeah. I also think the value proposition is so much better with these tools.
So much.
Like trying to convince someone to use the metaverse. Have you ever tried to convince someone to get into the metaverse?
It's hard.
They just go, why would I want that? And you just go, I don't know, it's new, and there's not really a good reason to. But when you tell them, yeah, imagine it could just like write your emails for you. Immediately people are like, yeah, I'm in. That sounds great. It can write stuff for me. It can do these things that it would normally take me much more tools or much more expertise to do. Sounds great.
Yeah.
So the value prop is so obvious, and it's just, it makes a lot more sense.
It's a knowledge robot, so it works for everybody. Like the fact that it's the fastest growing software product ever, even when it was just regular ChatGPT before a lot of people even knew about OpenAI, says a lot about the state of the industry.
Yeah.
And when they released GPT-4, like 30 companies were announced to already be using it.
Yeah.
You know, like
I guess
Duolingo
we figured out that Bing is using it, but now there's a whole bunch of other things.
Tons.
I think also there's still this question in the background of like what really are the best uses of this specific application of a language model and like chatting with something. Search is cool, but also like we were talking about these other tools that Google and Microsoft are already putting them in, which sound a little more interesting.
Office stuff
Especially, like not knowing Excel functions or Sheets functions and just having it, you just type like, build me a chart that can like summarize blah, 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 and then just throw it in there and it does it. That stuff's going to be amazing, I think.
I mean, I think that, and I posted a tweet, well, it's Joanna Stern retweeting someone named Benedict Evans and just basically agreeing with the sense that they think that ChatGPT and similar AIs in a search function may be one of the least useful tools. I kind of agree to a point. Like when we're talking about when we're being like creative and brainstorming and much more simple things, or like you said, inside Google Worksheets, like trying to figure out the function for an Excel sheet, that feels far more important than all these searches on the internet of like infinite information that it can get wrong so easily.
Absolutely.
And just like, I don't know, in a search it doesn't feel quite as useful.
And this could be very different for future generations, but at least for our generation, like we've become accustomed to know how to Google things quickly. We Google with very specific keywords.
It is a skill.
Because it takes so long to type out an entire question for something that interacting with a chatbot, you have to do that. You can't just type like new Samsung phone. Because what is a chatbot going to spit out? It's just a bunch of random information. But if you type new Samsung phone, Google knows how to crawl that and be like, oh, the S23 Ultra.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got accustomed to that. Maybe younger people won't be, but like I'm of the opinion that people are always going to be wanting to do things faster and more efficiently. And if you have to interact with a chatbot like that much, it's going to take too long.
I think that's going to be the skill that people have to develop. So like if you ask like our parents or whatever, you have to find some new information. What do you have to do? Well, you have to learn the Dewey Decimal System and then find where that exact encyclopedia of the topic that you're looking for is, and you find that book and then you go alphabetically to find the topic, then you look it up and you find the thing, and that's your one fact that you just learned. Where like the next generation can go with these search engines and we're like, okay, I want to look up, like I want a meal plan for this week and I realize I think I want to put on more muscle, so that probably involves protein. I'm just going to start Googling meal plans for muscle growth, or like what should I do to grow muscle, and like you start like combining all these articles of all these Google searches.
How to grow muscle Reddit.
Right. Now it's like you literally just open the search and type into the chatbot, give me a plan for I want to do this. I want to put on muscle and have a high protein diet and hit enter. And it just does all of the work for you. So efficiency is one way of looking at it, or just like it just does all the work for you is another way of looking at it.
Can you see what Bard does when you type that in?
Let's try it.
Yeah.
Let's try it. I'm going to screen record again.
I do. Why he's trying that though? Yeah, like it's just funny when you say how we've optimized like searching. I just think of some of the things I've searched, and I just if I say it out loud, it's like caveman speak. Just you start like learning all these keywords that is like, grow muscle, Reddit, food, no dairy.
Yeah.
Like it's just
If you look at the tags, if you look at like a website that you're on, if you looked at the URL is specifically targeted to be like keywords.
You're basically thinking in SEO at
you're
that point.
thinking in SEO, and we don't even think about the fact that we think in SEO.
It
but
is
we do.
very funny.
Yeah. It's like coding, right? Because coding is a language, and
I know
like,
nothing about coding.
Well, okay, but like,
But you do because you put the 0 in front of the 1 on your keyboard, apparently.
just saying, 0 is a number,
Sorry.
and it doesn't make sense that it would be at the end. Why is it at the end?
I just always think of it
I'm
as
with you.
10. Sorry, I derailed that really bad. Go watch the new
Also-
studio video if you're
Okay,
confused.
here's a fun fact. Every new number from 0 to infinity takes, or actually 0 to 9, is less likely to occur naturally. 0 to 9.
Wait, what?
Yes, okay. So 0 to 9, right?
Oh.
Of all of those numbers, every new number above it is less likely to occur naturally because
Okay.
it takes more energy to get from 0 of something to 1 of something. Then it takes even more energy to get from 1 of something to 2 of something.
Okay.
And so if you look at the distribution of all of the numbers from 0 to 9 in any string that appear anywhere in the world, it's literally like goes straight down from like 0 to 9.
Yeah. So 0 is used
So you're
a
saying
lot.
0 should
0
be
is
first.
a lot.
And so it
yes,
should be at the front.
because the most common.
I think it should be on the home row then.
All right. Let's see what
mean-
Bard said.
Bard, I asked, what should I do with my diet to put on muscle? And it actually gave me a nice little bullet point list. It said, here are some tips on what you should do with your diet to put on muscle. 1, eat a high protein diet, and then spells that out. 2, eat a calorie surplus, spells that out. Eat a balanced diet, stay hydrated, get enough sleep, lift weights, be patient. Pretty nice little write-up there.
Here is something about Bard that I found. It seems like the suggestions that it gives you for things are like really basic and not detailed.
And I think that's kind of what happens when you go through like Google for things is like you get the high level version, and then if you want to dig in more, you hit the button that says Google it, and then you dive into all of the things that would happen with related searches and other things you would look up to like fill in your answer.
Yeah.
Can you like respond to that and say like, I'm also vegetarian and what supplement should I be taking or something like that?
Okay.
Just try and confuse it.
Yeah,
a
it
little
just
bit.
seems like eat a balanced diet as an answer for how do I stay healthy.
Quit Facebook.
Yeah, it just seems really generic. It's like, how do I be healthy? Step 1, be healthy. Step 2, don't be unhealthy.
Activity, sleep, sun. I said, I am also vegetarian. Should I take supplements? Yes, is it a good idea for vegetarians to take supplements as they may not be getting all the nutrients they need from their diet? Here are some supplements that vegetarians may want to consider. Vitamin B12, iron, omega-3 fatty acids, calcium, vitamin D, and breakdowns of each of them.
feel like
Now,
it-
I asked ChatGPT the same initial question. What should I do with my diet to put on muscle? And GPT-4 writes a lot more. I also have my setting on being creative, but it writes a lot more. So it says to put on muscle, you need to focus on a combination of proper nutrition, resistance training, and adequate rest. Here are some guidelines to help you adjust your diet for muscle growth. More calories, prioritize protein, balance carbs and fats, eat frequently, stay hydrated. Similar things, a little more diet tailored, which is cool. Let me ask it the second question. I am also a vegetarian.
Also, just in the way that GPT-4 responds to you just feels more complex.
Way better.
In a good way. In a good way. In a more natural way, in a less like robotic, like here is your answer. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like, Bard kind of sounded like telling kids in first grade how to be healthy,
Yes.
whereas like ChatGPT 4 felt like if you like your first meeting your personal trainer, and then like,
Right.
here's the couple things just to always remember before like giving you a plan.
Yeah. Okay. What did it say, Marques?
So, as a vegetarian, you can generally obtain most of the essential nutrients through a well-planned and balanced diet. However, there are a few nutrients that can be challenging to get in an adequate amount from plant-based sources alone. It might be beneficial to consider taking supplements for the following nutrients: vitamin D, B12, omega-3 fatty acids. Kind of gives you the same
It was very
breakdown
similar, yeah.
as Bard. it also types it out much more slowly, where Bard will
Yeah,
just
it's
spit
still
out the
going.
answer all at once after like 5 seconds of
Can
waiting.
you change that on ChatGPT?
I haven't found a setting to be able to. It just seems to type.
That
in real
seems
time. Which I
like
think,
a really basic thing it should be able to do.
I think the queries take a while. So if you ask it for something more complex, it'll take longer to do it. And if you ask for like the fast version of, like, if I have the Plus account, so it like prioritizes it, so it types really fast. It's as good as just spitting it all out.
I'd be interested to see how much of that is actually still processing or how much of that is attempting to feel more chat-like by watching it.
It does feel more
I would
chat-like.
rather just spit out.
Yeah, I think there is something to it. It does feel more chat-like
Yeah.
when it's typing it out to you instead of
Like it
just-
feels like somebody's on the other side typing
Right.
to you right now.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. So, we'll keep playing with this. There's a lot more, of course, that we'll do with Bard and with Bing. they both start with B. I don't know, it's a coincidence.
Wait, I like the Bard name though.
Bard?
Solid name. Dig it.
What?
Take that button away from him.
It's all right.
I'm gonna send Bard on you.
Yeah, Google specifically mentions that it's an experiment, like over and over and over again, and they also have a wait list. And I just wonder if they're going to roll it out to everyone. I wonder if at I/O they're going to officially integrate it into a product, because OpenAI is putting it in a lot of products with their API. And if Google can't catch up and they just keep it as an experiment for a while, it's just kind of,
Yeah, I've thought about that. Like,
yeah.
GPT is going to show up more and more as a plugin or a collaboration inside of a bunch of other apps. I think Opera recently just added GPT as a co-pilot to their own browser. So I don't have to use Edge to talk to GPT, or I guess I was doing Bing before. I'm not going to use Opera, but it's like, you keep seeing GPT showing up in more and more places, to the point where, literally, I mentioned this last week, my weather app has a chatbot now where you can just talk to it about the weather. And I'm pretty sure that's also powered by GPT.
Now you can small talk with your weather app.
Exactly. And
This is not the future
It'll
I
go
wanted.
crazy and it'll just talk to you. And that's like, so obviously Bard is Google's version of this. So the question would be, is there a reason for any of them to use Google's version over GPT? Not sure I see a reason yet,
Yeah.
but if there are some edges that they find that are better with Bard for certain applications, then maybe they will.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see.
And
It's
they're-
so early, we don't know the answer.
I think ultimately they're just going to want to integrate it into their own products. Like that's their
That's
end
the main
goal,
thing.
probably, is just to like compete with Microsoft.
Yeah, for sure.
For
But is there
Office.
going to be value for OpenAI becoming like the backbone of AI chatbots everywhere, all over the internet?
Google
Isn't
would
that
prefer
kinda
that
It's going to
not
be like
to be.
everyone. It's going to be like OpenAI in everything versus Google in just Google products.
Yeah.
It's like Google versus Apple.
Sort of.
OpenAI has like an API that lets everyone access it. If Google keeps Bard just to itself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of feel like Apple. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yep.
Okay, last question. Would you rather talk, if you could do voice chat with your current voice assistant, which I assume is Google Assistant, not Siri, would you rather talk to that or talk to Bard or talk to GPT?
ChatGPT.
Like,
You mean with a
can they
like,
speak to me?
Yeah, can they speak? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
GPT-4. Of
Yeah.
course. It's natural.
I'd probably. Can ChatGPT still control my lights?
Yeah.
I'd probably pick GPT-4.
Yeah.
Can
think
I-
I would pick GPT.
Can I use a voice?
Do I have to say, "Hey GPT-4"?
Yeah.
I actually probably like that better than "Hey Google." Sorry, to be honest.
Can I use a voice map of Owen Wilson?
That's a lot. I bet it could figure out a way to do it, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
What if, when you're talking to an assistant, you say like, turn on the bathroom lights.
Yeah.
It does it.
Yeah.
These language models, what if it's like, turn on the lights, and it's like, how bright? And then you're like, the brightness it always is. And it's like, okay, but what temperature? And you're like, shut up.
To be fair,
Shut up,
Google
please.
does that too. You're like, "Hey Google, turn on the lights." Okay. Next time, if you would like
Yeah,
to do this,
Google does
you
that
can just
all the
ask this. If
time.
you're wondering how to start your day in the morning,
Yeah.
Google, shut the.
Okay,
I just want to turn my lights on.
Hey, thanks for watching the clip this week. Fun fact, if you ask the subscribe button how it feels, kind of like it's a chatbot, it'll tell you an entire story about its nature, how it used to be one color, now it's a different color, and how it's sort of grown up and evolved over time. But you only get that story if you click it, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, if you want to chat with the subscribe button like a chatbot, just click it. I think that's all you have to do. Yeah.
I thought you had to smash it.
We still can talking about feet.